Hi, everyone. Hey, everyone. How are you? In this live, we're just going to be kind of just chatting about the subconscious mind and how it works and how we can use it to our advantage to attract the relationships, the success, and the life that we desire. And one of the books that's really inspired me is this book called Psycho-Cybernetics, which I'm going to pull out this book right now. And one of the things I really want to mention to you guys is the importance of not putting your desires on a pedestal. Because, and what this means is putting them separately from you. Because when we put them separately from ourselves, that is when we treat it as something that's not ours already. And we're not in an energetic alignment or match to it in that space. Versus when we already have what it is that we desire, we already carry that energy, even if maybe in a physical sense, we don't actually maybe don't have the relationship exactly that we desire, we still hold that energy. We hold the energy of being happy within ourselves, and fully loving and accepting ourselves. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. I would love to hear if there's anything that you want to ask about the subconscious mind, hypnotherapy, or any thoughts that you have as well. But I'll keep kind of mentioning what I was speaking on before about how certain emotional scars can make for this continued pattern of negative energy show up in our relationships. So, for example, if in past relationships we, we were put down and we had negative experiences, we got cheated on, or whatever it is that happened, when that continues to happen, and maybe when that's happened when you were a child, that energy can continue to manifest into your physical reality if you don't really fully allow yourself to feel it completely and allow yourself to release it too. And then I also kind of just wanted to mention how in our life, we can really accomplish anything that we desire. And I kind of just want to touch based on a story about a friend that I have that has really, really inspired me in my own life. And that friend has been through so much in their life. And this story might as well be about a lot of my friends and also maybe about myself. But at the end of the day, we have, those who have gone through so much in their life are the ones that really have the ability and the compassion to inspire others, which isn't always, the case in life. That we have that energy and that gift to be able to continue to inspire. And instead of getting dark and going in our shadow and staying in the shadow, we can, choose to, despite, people, maybe if you're bullied, people bullying you, despite negative things happening in your life, choosing to be in a space of love rather than a space of fear for your existence and the existence of the world, because there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, as you probably know. But yeah, kind of as well, what I wanted to mention. One second, like, who is he? Okay. Yeah. So yeah, this is the book I was speaking on. I love this book, and basically, it's about tapping into the power of your subconscious mind. And I'm a hypnotherapist. I've been doing hypnotherapy for the past 4 years now, and within the work that I do, I just like to read more information about all of it. But kind of recently, what I've been seeing in my practice and what I've been seeing in my friendships and just showing up in life in general is the more that we allow ourselves to fully feel what we're feeling and our emotions and showing them compassion, but like allowing ourselves to experience that as fast as we possibly can without holding it down or shoving it down, that is when the emotion is actually able to leave through us a lot quicker than it would normally be able to leave us, which is very interesting, because I think that a lot of times we're taught, if there's a negative emotion, that we need to distract ourselves, we need to do something to push that emotion down, when in reality, what I've experienced, what my clients have experienced, and what and in general in life is, when you're angry, when you're upset, when you're sad, and you just, maybe even you have to close your eyes and just, not even speak or anything, but just close your eyes, allow yourself to feel like the anger, even if you're so frustrated, allow yourself to like, um, you know, uh, even if you have to like, punch your pillow or whatever you have to do, but sitting with it, even for like closing your eyes for like 4 minutes or something, like, I can almost guarantee you that within those 4 minutes, if you just allow yourself to breathe through it, breathe through the sadness, breathe through the anger, the frustration, the irritation, if you're in an argument or something, remove yourself from the situation if you can. And within that time, uh, it's amazing what can change when, and how easily and fluidly it can move through us, um, rather than when we allow ourselves to shove it down, it's just gonna come back to us, which usually ends up happening when we don't fully allow ourselves to feel and express our emotions, because a lot of times we're not taught to do that. We're not taught to express our emotions. Um, yeah. So I'm going to flip to a random page in this book and see what it has to say. If it can give us a topic to kind of chat on or go about. So I would say, yeah. So something that I was kind of mentioning was, and I was mentioning to you this before, using the thing that, you had to get over, whether that was like a toxic relationship, or any sort of toxic habit or anything in your life, using that negative energy that you once kind of had towards it, because a lot of times when we have negative energy towards something, we are fueling that energy. So when we allow ourselves to instead fuel that energy into creative endeavors, it can be a very uh, beautiful thing. We can pour that creative energy into a new business, a new hobby. Um, if you're fighting any sort of addiction, or fighting, depression or anxiety, or just, overthinking, when we use that energy to then put it towards something beautiful, creative, art, music, it's amazing what we can do with that. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And as well, I wanted to kind of mention to everybody that I, there's a lot that can be going on in the external world when it comes to our, all the stuff that's happening, with war, with, everything. I'm not even going to go into details, but when we can take this energy of all of this negativity kind of happening, and obviously show compassion a lot, and also letting ourselves feel the way that we feel, but at the same time, not pouring so much of our energy into it where we lose ourselves in it and we leak our own energy, rather than using that energy for a place of love and inspiration towards the world, and doing what we can to express ourselves and show up in the most loving way possible. And because that's really all that we can, doing the best we can right now is super important. Hello everybody. Yeah, so also, I don't know if you've ever heard of this book. It's not very common book that people read. I randomly found it at Barnes and Noble one time. But this book, it's called Frequency, The Power of Personal Vibration. And it just basically talks about how certain certain brainwave states that impact our suggestibility and our ability to feel and express, and subconsciously do healing work. And also, if any of you have any questions, let me know in the chat about subconscious programming, hypnotherapy, hypnosis. I'm a hypnotherapist. I've been doing this for about 4 years. And so if you have any questions about that, feel free to ask in the chat too. Feel free to ask in the chat. Yeah, and I think what I also feel inspired to touch on today that has really helped me along my journey, but especially, today in general, is when we energetically align to a state in a place where we believe that the world has the best for us to offer, when we believe that the world is here to help us, not to, when the world is here to help us and not to kind of put us down, when people are here to love, and to support us, when we have this type of energy in place, and when we have this type of energy in our life, that is when things start to really shift. Because if we believe that everybody is so nice to us all the time, that we always have the most amazing relationships, that our partner is the best partner. Because if I'm being completely honest, when I was in a past relationship, and when I've been in relationships previously, when I've been in relationships previously, people had basically how do I want to word this properly. So in the past, when I've been in relationships and people had, when people had, done things that would make me feel very overly critical of them, like they wouldn't be up to my exact expectations, every single thing that I saw, every single little thing that I would nitpick about the relationship, whether that would be that they didn't open the door for me like one time, or wouldn't clean the table like one time, or like just like very, very small little things, or would say something in conversation that would maybe irritate me, like maybe wouldn't ask a question about like my idea or response about something. Even if 99% of the time that they've always asked questions about me, I would overthink every little thing in the relationship. And the more that I would overthink the relationship, the more things that would start to show up for me. And when we overthink and nitpick in our relationships, that is when we actually start to self sabotage our relationships. Yeah. So, are we talking about romantic relationships or friendships? Both. When we nitpick in any sort of relationships, also in our family relationships. And I'll kind of talk about how this has happened in my relationship with both in romantic and also with like my mom. With my mom, and when I was younger and in general, like of course she was doing the best that she could. I grew up with a single mom and she was raising three kids. And there's a lot of, of course, uh, irritation or frustration or negative energy towards her growing up. And in this space, when there was so much negative energy for me towards her, nitpicking every little thing that she was doing wrong, even though, of course, logistically too, there was things that weren't right, and I still don't believe that we're right in that relationship. I don't have to, uh, you know, believe that all that she did was okay. But the more recently that I have started to highlight all of the amazing things about that relationship, the more amazing of a mom that she's been to me. And of course, we live very far away from each other, but the more love that I feel from her, and the more good things that she does and says, and her actions and everything come from her, rather than when I was younger, when I would nitpick and I would everything that she did and whatnot. And of course, she's not perfect. She's still not perfect, but in that sort of way, when we continue to nitpick our relationships, it can spiral into something where we can sabotage all of our relationships. But of course, setting boundaries, you know, setting boundaries in our life is very, very important. But like I was saying before, how this can show up in romantic relationships is they'll end up not feeling appreciated. And in my own relationship, the more that I was nitpicking, the more that I saw negative things that I saw. And one day I decided, I was like, this is like, I feel good in my relationship, but I would get through these negative, like nitpicking spirals. And one day I decided, I was like, instead, I'm going to focus on all of the amazing aspects about my partner, all the like great things about who I'm with. And ever since then, I can't find really anything negative to nitpick about at all. And so this can really this can, spiral out and branch out into all aspects of life. The more we nitpick the things that are, you know, like what's wrong, what's negative, what we don't have, that's more that we're gonna see. If that makes any sense. Yeah. Yeah. So if that makes any sense, that can show up in also like it's kind of a very similar aspect of you understand? Yeah. Yeah, it's a very similar aspect as well when it comes to, like, in business, if we see everything that's going wrong in business versus, like, really appreciating what's right, appreciating what's right in our lives, and just practicing gratitude, sharing gratitude not only, to ourselves, but also to the people around us. The more that we share that, like, I'm so grateful for you to your parents or the person that is, serving you at a restaurant. The more that we hold that gratitude in that space for others, the more that can be reciprocated. And yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, okay, yeah, okay. And I feel like the last thing I want to touch on, the last thing I want to touch on today is, and kind of branching out into how much of a amazing focus it is to focus on what is going good for us rather than what is going negative for us, is how it impacts our ability to remain optimistic, and how it can quite literally damage and make you sick, like damage your physical body and make you sick, the more that you allow yourself to spiral into negativity long term. And I'm not talking about negativity in the aspect of allowing yourself to fully express and feel your emotions. As I was saying at the beginning of this live, fully allowing yourself to experience and feel your emotions is extremely important. And literally allowing yourself a few minutes whenever you feel sadness or anger, or even like a good feeling like love and compassion. When you feel these emotions come up, allowing yourself to feel them for a few minutes, literally like sitting with yourself, even closing your eyes to not allow yourself to be distracted by your phone or something else that's going on. And the more that we, uh, you know, allow ourselves to focus on the good in life, the good in people, and see the good in the world, and focus on all the, good things that are happening, because there's, like I was saying before, there's so much negative things going on in the world, but the more that we focus on it, the more that we're going to see it. And it's really important to, to be able to be helpful in the world, and to, to fulfill your purpose and your mission, whatever that is in life, to remain in the state of optimism. Because the more that we remain in the state of pessimism, we're going to become less helpful for the world, whether that be for the environment, for health, for the people, for the animals, whatever, whichever kind of thing, resonates with you the most, but also like it's all intertwined in general. It is all intertwined. And yeah, I just want to let you go with the energy of, the gratefulness in all aspects of life. And, even just watching this live stream right now, and me doing this live stream, like, we have either a computer or a phone that we can listen to, and we have communication, access to so much learning opportunities. You can quite literally learn whatever it is that you desire to learn. If you want to learn a new language, if you want to learn, about certain cultures or environmental stuff, or whatever it is that interests you, you can learn it. And I invite you, this evening, if there's anything you feel excited to explore, when it comes to like learning something, like, activate your mind, and push yourself to learn something new tonight, whether it's like, studying on something that's interesting to you, something that could maybe help the world, help society, help yourself too. I appreciate everybody who's been watching, and yeah, I'll get on here once again. Yeah, thank you guys. Bye. Mhm.